Pink Poodle Crafts, join the Poodle Pack. It's time to get creative and make you laugh. Make your own art today. Pink Poodle Crafts is the way.
What a good boy.
Hey, crafty family, it's me. And yes, my voice is still a mess. But today I wanted to play with this, which is a vintage kind of, well, a classic maybe. I don't know what it would be called, but it's a craft play toy. I don't know. That was put out by Dee Gruenig in cooperation with the Ranger Company and Posh Impressions. Dee Gruenig, which there's a picture of her on here, she used to be on the Carol Duvall show all the time. You know, back in the day when crafting was like, you know, hitting its popularity with stamping, card making, and backgrounds and stuff like that. Well, Dee Gruenig and Carol Duvall used to, frequent each other's things. And anyway, if you look up online, oh my God, this is like not. Ugh. Anyway, that's Dee Gruenig there. That's her. So if you look up online, you can look up Dee Gruenig. She's got books. She's got all kinds of stuff, crafty books and DVDs and whatnot. And she had come out with this kit. And the kit was called the Rainbow Sponge, right? And it was mostly this sponge, which is like really hard and dense. It's almost like I don't know, it's really dense, really thick. It's like, it's not something you would clean with. Not that kind of sponge. But it's kind of a sponge nonetheless. So she came out with this, called it the Rainbow Sponge. And if you look it up on YouTube, you can find her like, she had like a 40-minute or 35-minute kind of infomercial on it. How to use it. I'll put a link to it below. I'll put a link to that 30 minutes. And there's also people that kind of like took parts of that video and turned it into like a 3-minute kind of strange compilation of her making weird noises and stuff. I'll also link that below because it is kind of funny. But anyway, I had first seen this years ago, like many, many years ago. I don't remember where. It was like some either late night show. It might have been an infomercial. It might have been on Carol Duvall show. I don't remember. I seem to think it was an infomercial because I seem to remember there being a number and you can call and get it. And I couldn't afford it at the time. I didn't have any money. I was in my 20s and I, just wanted it and thought it was cool, but obviously never got it. So I thought, well, if I ever have the money, I want to get it someday. Of course, over the years, you kind of forget about things. And then all of a sudden I was reminded of it and I thought, oh, I wonder if I could still get it. So I went on a hunt. Went on a hunt, found out that it's not sold anymore. The kit itself is not sold. The only way you can find it is if you happen upon, like in my case, I found this at the expo because somebody had bought like a closeout of a bunch of stuff and they were selling it at the expo, these kits. But they're not made anymore. So if you find one, you're lucky and you should get it while you can because they just don't exist. And, or if you like find one on eBay or something like that, which is also very rare that you're going to find one because I've searched and I even did a search today and there was like something on eBay, but it was, I don't even know if it was an active listing, but it was like expensive and whatever. And it wasn't just this, it came with other things. So you were actually paying for other things. Anyway, so a few years ago, I had done a search looking for a phone number or an email to the company to see if they just happen to have any left that I can buy off of them or whatever. And I found an email address and I emailed the person and the guy emailed me back and he said that, sorry, it's no longer made anymore. And we went back and forth with email. Come to find out, I was talking to Dee Gruenig's husband. her husband. I didn't know that at first. And well, after a few email exchanges, he turns around and said that he talked to his wife, Dee, who actually as of a couple years ago was coming out with another book. I don't know if she's come out with it. I don't know. I haven't seen any information, so I don't know if that's still happening, but she was supposedly coming out with another book, like a craft related book. But anyway, he said that he talked to his wife and she had one clean sponge, and I have it. It's in one of my drawers. I haven't used it yet because I was like, oh, it's the only one, she said that it was the only one that she had left that was clean. She had hers that were, kind of dirty, but so she sent it to me. So that was really sweet of them. And I got it a couple years ago and I haven't used it because I don't know. I get sentimental about things and I thought, oh, it's the last remaining one. I can't, mess it up. But then at the expo, I found this kit and the guy was telling me how he came across these kits and I got another one. So of course now I can play because I have one, an extra one, really. So basically, the best way to use this is with glossy cardstock. It works best on glossy cardstock. Now, if you can, for some reason, if you happen upon one of these sponges, you don't have to use these inks. These are just dye-based inks. So you can use like your refills for your distress inks. Any dye-based ink will do. You can even use, because it was used in, I want to say there was somewhere I saw, I think it was Dee that was using it. Hold on, let me show you, because some of you have these. These little things. These Lumieres were also good to use with this. They're like more like a paint. So you can use the Lumieres with them, and you could buy these in a pack online for like $10 or $15, and you get like a pack of, I don't know, 12 or 15 colors. These are really cool paints, by the way. They're really metallic and pretty. So those are another thing you can use. So you could basically use anything with this. I don't see why there would be any limit, honestly. You could probably even take like sprays and put like close range spray, different colors, because where you do is you put it on the edge like that. So you could probably use sprays. You could probably use the these thingies, FW inks. You could probably use a whole range of things with these, and as long as you clean it. Now, if you're using inks, you don't have to, I mean, you should clean it, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to harden your sponge. But if you use something like a paint, you're going to want to clean your sponge after you use it. I would suggest cleaning your sponge after you use it anyway, and all you do is run it under some warm water and just squeeze it and squeeze it and squeeze it until the water runs clear. It's gonna stain it, so it'll be stained, but it'll still work. Now, if you use inks, apparently, if you just use dye based inks and you don't wash it, you can just spray it with some water and you can reuse the ink that's already on it. So that's an idea too if you wanted to, because the dye inks don't dry up and make anything hard, but any kind of paint would. So you just got to be careful what you use. But anyway, so there's these inks. This is called the Earth Tones. I guess there's different packs that have like different color inks. This one's considered like the Earth Tones pack. And I'm just giving these a shake because I don't know how long they've been sitting. Who knows? They seem to be still good because, well, dye ink, you can even use printer ink. If you have like the bottles of printer ink, they're most of the time dye based. So you can use those too. And you can get those. You can get huge. That's another thing. I've said this before, but I haven't said it in a long time. If you go on eBay and look up Epson Ink Refills, because Epson's are always the cheapest. Epson Ink Refills, Epson 6 ink refills, actually. You can get 6 bottles of ink. You'll get a light magenta, a dark magenta, a light cyan, a dark cyan, a black, a yellow, But anyway, you'll get a whole bunch of inks, and you big bottles too. And it's dye-based ink. You can use that for all kinds of really cool things. You can make sprays with it, and usually you can get all 6 of these bottles for about $17, $18, and they're large bottles, and you can make a ton of cool things with them. So don't buy like, you can mix colors, make all kinds of stuff with them. So if you're interested in getting some really cool sprays for cheap, then get yourself some empty bottles. Go to Target in the travel section. They have the bottles. Get a bunch of bottles. Go online on eBay. Look up Epson six color ink refills, and you'll see the bottles of ink. And they're like $15 to $18, and they will last you forever because they're so pigmented. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So we're going to play with this a little bit. I've never played with this because, like I said, I got the other sponge and decided, not to do it. I'm going to do it on this short edge right here. You can do it on any edge you want. There's a lot of edges on this. But I'm going to go ahead and do it on the short edge. And I'm just going to grab, and basically what she said to do was to grab some different colors and put it like right on the edge, like I'm doing. Let's do. And then it'll all pretty much look one color. And then what you do is you make stripes with the ink. Look at that. And you get like rainbow ink. You can also go the other way and get like some cool things as well, and get like a cool kind of like, oh, Tigger thinks this noise he hears. No, Tigger. And get like plaids. Isn't that cool? Tigger! Of course, right when I'm starting to record. Why not? Tigger! Quiet. So anyway, and you can use it over and over again until it starts to run out, kind of like an ink pad in a sense. So I can do like ink, would you shut up, Tigger? Just do rainbow backgrounds. Tigger! That's enough! Are you done? Dumbass. You could do like, sorry, he's like, you could do stuff like this. All kinds of backgrounds until your heart's content. I'm not very good with this, obviously, but it's still fun. You can still do cool things with it. And then let's see. Some more paper. See if there's more ink on this edge. That's a lovely noise, isn't it? These are fun to make. Fun! Now, as you see, it gets lighter and lighter. So what you can do is you could take some water and spray it and let it sit for a few seconds to kind of like soak down. And then take more paper. And you get a different effect. You get a lighter kind of pastel effect. It's a lovely noise though. Squeaky noise it makes. You could do like cool things like that. Isn't that cool? You could just add more color. Just, I don't know, just mess around and see what you get. Very cool. So I'm going to add some color now to the other side and do different colors. And do like a different, maybe not different colors, but different, different colors, different order of colors, really. So let's see, we want to do some purple. But you get a good amount of stuff out of one thing of ink, like one application of the ink. Blue, green, and then there's this blue. Is this another blue? Green, no. Yellow, orange, and this like magenta color kind of. I guess, is that it? And then there's a red color, I guess. Okay. So there's a different, well, not different ink necessarily, but that's more rainbowy looking. That's groovy. And I'm holding it with my nails so that I don't put my fingers on it until it's dry. That is cool. Tigger, it's just me. That's what he's barking at. He's barking at me and that noise the ink is making. Tigger, it's just mommy. Stop. Jesus. And she did like other things like this, where you do like little swirly doos like that, where you just take it and you make little bow tie type of things. Cute. She did all kinds of things. Like I said, the link to her video is below. She does all kinds of fancy things. I don't know how to do fancy things. So I'm just messing around with the color. But that's why it's called the rainbow sponge, because obviously you can make rainbow backgrounds with it and whatnot. And you can make little frame pieces. And it just wipes up because it's water-soluble ink. Which is another cool thing to think about too, because you could probably do some cool like water droplet things where you let it sit a minute and then take a rag and pick up the excess color to give you a cool mixed media background. Now she didn't do that on hers, but I remember thinking that as I did it, or as I was watching hers, I was like, oh, I bet you that would be cool. See how cool that is? So you can just do, you know, get water droplets and do some really cool things with that. And make a cool mixed media style background. Like that. Now I know people are going to say, well, is there any other kind of sponge I can use to get the same result? I don't know. I don't know of any. The closest thing I can even think to tell you is if you can find a sample, like some places like will give you a sample of like a memory foam mattress. They'll give you like a sample piece to like squish and feel how it works. That's not what this feels like. It's much harder and denser than a memory foam. It doesn't squish down like memory foam at all. However, that's the closest I can think of. Potentially, you can try a magic eraser, but then again, they kind of disintegrate as they get wet and get used, so that might fall apart after a couple times. But you could try it. You know, I'm not against, you know, the thought that the magic eraser might work. So I would give it a try if you want to with different inks. But anywhere you can find a really super dense sponge, but that's not got a lot of holes in it, kind of like a typical sponge. See how it's not quite as porous as a regular, I mean, it is porous, but not like a regular sponge with the big pores. So I'm sure you can find something that you could use in place of this. You know what I mean? There has to be something. So, I would even like venture to say, hold on one second. You might be able to get away with like one of these type of sponges. We can try it like this and use the tip of it, even though these are not very dense like these. You know, there are situations where that might work because you got like this kind of tapered tip right here, which mine is kind of dirty. So let's try it. Why not, right? Let's put a couple different colors on here and see. I bet you it works. I mean, it doesn't hurt to try. Now it seems much more wet, like it didn't sink in as well. But so, oops, I got some ink on there. That's all right. See, look, it works, but obviously not quite as well. And the ink is definitely not like, you know what I mean? It's too much of a condensed ink. Whereas this spreads it out a lot thinner, so you're not using it all up in one or two swipes, which is what happened here. But, you know, of course, if you take it and you can make a do something like that and have fun with that. But, you know, so that really doesn't work because after like one swipe, it used up all the ink, because this somehow holds the ink in and like redistributes it without using all of it up. So yeah, I guess that wouldn't work. You'd have to find something that had this same kind of texture so that it would work the same way. but it's, oh, that's the wrong side. You can use cardstock, but it won't look as nice. Oh, for crying out loud. Nails suck when you're trying to do crafts. It's stuck to the table because I wet the table. That's what it looks like on cardstock. It doesn't give a smooth finish. It just looks like that. Anyway, I did it on the wrong side. And then you can use the other side and get like 2 different types of ink. But anyway, you catch the drift. It's a lot of fun to play with. It's something new for me anyway. I mean, it's not new as far as the product goes, but I've never played with it, and you know, I find it to be really interesting and fun. And even if I break these up into ATCs and use them as backgrounds or whatever, you can, like I said, you can also use the paints, which I'll try those as well. That'll be the last thing I try because then I have to wash it out, of course. Just stick the caps back on these so I don't lose it or knock them over. But these, let's see what other colors I got in here. I have a gold, a purple, and a teal. And let's see, maybe a pink. Now these need to be shaken because they've got mica in them. My favorite color is this Halo Blue Gold. It's a really cool color. I hope it comes across on the card using the sponge. But if you are interested in playing with one of these kits, I have an extra one I'm giving away in my Patreon group. And if you're not one of my Patreon people, Patreon is a website where you can go and sign up, and there's different tiers, and it's a way to support my channel. In order to be in, we have a secret Facebook group, so anybody that signs up under the $5 or more per month tier, you'll be in my Facebook group. And I also have classes that if you get in the $10 or more tier, you will get a class every couple of months. And if you're in the $15 tier, you get a class every 2 months. If you're in the $25 tier a month, you get a class every month. And this is like a class, you know, like a real class that we do. And it's usually 3 to 4 hours long, and it's a live stream class, so you get to ask questions while you're in there. And you know, and you also get stuff sent to you every month if you're in the $10 plus tier. But anyway, in the Facebook group, or in the Patreon, if you join my Patreon on Saturday, I'm going to, and during my live stream, I'm going to give this away to one of my Patreon people. So the link to my Patreon is also below. So if you're interested in joining and supporting my channel, I do giveaways in there. We have swaps in that group. We, obviously the classes, like I said, like this month, we're doing a watercolor technique class. We're going to do like basic watercolor techniques, and then also like some integration of how to use watercolors with your mixed media. So if you're interested in being involved in this, you would want to join my Patreon. Now, if you just want to take a class every month, it's $25, and you can pick and choose which class you want. So let's say you're like, oh, I'd want to do the watercolor class. Okay, well, just message me either here on YouTube, put a comment under this video, or best way to do it is to email me at pinkpoodlecrafts@gmail.com. Email me and let me know you're interested in being in the class, which is on the 31st. I think it's the 31st. It's Tuesday, the last day of July. and you can be in the watercolor class. You could just PayPal me the $25 and you'll get a link to the class. It's a private class only for my Patreon people, or if you pay outside, you know, from it. Anyway, but to win this, you have to be in the group, or you have to be one of my Patreon people. You don't necessarily have to be in the group, but so if you're interested, look for the link for Patreon. If you have any questions, just email me. If any of that's confusing, email me, but I advise you to look around on the Patreon site anyway. You'll kind of get an idea. It's basically a subscription service, and it's a way to support my channel, but you actually get something in return. You're not just giving money away, and you get a good deal, because even if you get the $10 a month and you get a class every 3 months, you know, the class we do is like a 3 to 4 hour long class. And even if you want the class every month, which would be $25 a month, and you get a class every month, that class is worth so much more than $25. You show me where you can find a workshop style class for $25. It's not possible. So, and I apologize for my voice. It's from talking all weekend at the expo. But anyway, so I thought I'd let people know about the Patreon, because I'm giving this away in the Patreon. But we do giveaways in there all the time. And we'll be doing more and more as time goes by. So I just thought I would throw that out there in case anyone was interested. But anyway, let's try this with the Lumiere. And these are like paint, more like paint. So I kind of feel like I have to like rub it in a little bit. These don't go on like inks like the other ones do. So, or you may have to sit and let them kind of meander their way in. But see, I remember seeing that this was a way to use these sponges by using this particular paint ink, whatever the hell it is. So I don't know. Yeah, it seems to be going in. We'll see how it works. It has to be a thin, like a thin bodied paint or an ink. So like your fluid acrylics would probably work okay. But probably the best thing to use is inks. But the odds of you finding one of these kits intact with the sponge is going to be rare, if at all. Okay, so let's try it and see what happens. If it works, it'll be pretty. Well, it's very pale. So I guess it's not as well as I thought it would work. No, I guess inks is the best way to go. Yeah. Well, that sucks. That sucks. It's pretty still. It's shiny and shimmery, but yeah, it's not the same. I mean, maybe if I water it down a little. I don't know, let's see. I watered it down. Well, that released some of the mica. Tigger, that's enough. But yeah, you're better off with the dye inks, because obviously, as we can see, the paints aren't the same. I mean, if you really want a nice light pastel background with a little shimmer, it's fine. You know. So yeah. Interesting though, isn't it? I'm going to put that into my bucket so that it can soak a bit, because I don't want that paint to dry on there. But anyway, I just thought I would share this because I was so excited to get it, and it's a lot of fun to use, and you'll probably see me use it again in a live stream or what have you. But yeah, this is really cool. I like the little speckle effect that I'm getting because of splashing some of the water on it. So that's kind of cool. So I may do more of that, splashing water on it. But yeah, I have plenty of dye ink refills for, like, you know, ink pads. And also I have those FW inks and whatnot. So, you know, there's plenty of things to use with it. That gave it a nice shimmer. I don't know if that's going to pick it up, but I gave it a nice shimmer. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm wondering if this shimmer spray that I got from the expo will add a shimmer to this or make it look weird. Let's see what happens. Let's see. No, it did. It added shimmer. Added it all over me too. And all over my table. But it might leave some speckles, but it'll probably look cool. Let me dry it a little bit and we'll see. Yeah, it left like speckles, but it's really cool. They're like real shimmery speckles. That's kind of cool looking. I don't know. I kind of like it. I'm sure I'll play with it like maybe Friday night as I do. If you don't know, I do a live stream every Friday night and pretty much every Saturday night too. But Friday night we do the pajama party. But I'm going to be announcing the winner of that ink on Saturday. I think I said, did I say Saturday? Saturday. So yeah, so if you're interested again in getting into that drawing, because we only have like 40 something people in our Patreon, so you have a 1 in 40 something chance to win it. But anyway, if you're interested, you could sign up on my Patreon. But I mean, don't sign up just for that. Sign up because there's classes and fun things that you get. It's worth it. Everybody that's a member is, says it's worth it and always, enjoys it. So it's definitely worth it if you like classes and you like getting stuff sent to you and you like being part of an exclusive group and all that fun stuff. And we do swaps every month. So it's definitely, worth it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and I hope if you ever come across this little kit, you will snatch it up, because they are, something that's, very rare to find. But, it's kind of, I don't know, there's something about it I just find to be kind of cool and fun. And I think mixed media wise, it's kind of cool. There's things you could do, and I'm sure there's a lot more you could do. And I do want to do some exploring with this in different avenues with this sponge and what it can do and what I can do with it, and see some other inks that I'm going to use with it. So I might play around with this on Friday. So if you're available, I usually do the Friday live stream around 10 o'clock. I might do it a little earlier this Friday. So I might do it around 9 or 8:30. If you're not in our Facebook group, you should join. That link is also in my description. And to get to all these links, if you look underneath of the video where you'll see the description, if you just click where it says show more, it'll say show more, and you click that, it'll open it all up and you'll see a whole bunch of links. You'll see my Patreon, my Etsy store, our Facebook group, like all kinds of stuff. So they're all informative links and ways that you can keep track of what we're doing in our group and my live streams and whatever. And also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And hit the bell notification, and hopefully it'll send you a notification when I go live. It's supposed to. It usually does. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and let me know in the comments below if you've ever heard of Dee Gruenig or this rainbow sponge kit, and if you've ever played with it, if you've ever had the privilege of having a kit and playing with it, and let me know your thoughts. And if you have any if you have played with it, let me know any tips and tricks that you know that I might not know. I'd love to get her DVD that she has with all kinds of other things you can do with the sponge. She does have a DVD, and it's not very expensive, so I may try to grab that off of Amazon at some point and then take those techniques and make a video showing all the techniques that I was taught in the DVD. So I may try to find it. I think I saw it on Amazon, and it wasn't very expensive, so I think that would be fun to watch and play around with. But I think this could be fun for mixed media, seeing the different things with the water droplets. So we'll see. Anyway, Have a good night, everybody, and I will talk to you guys soon. Don't forget, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. we do Mixed Media Mashup, and that's a class as well that is free. That is for beginners in mixed media, or if you're wanting to start getting involved in mixed media, that is a great class to take. It is free. It is a live stream. It's at 9 o'clock on my channel. You'll meet a lot of really fun people, or you can just sit back and watch and check it out and see if it's something you might be interested in. But definitely, if you've never done it, you should try it. Talk to you all later. Make sure you do what you love and love what you do and be nice to people. Bye.